You're listening to The Raw Reaction on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Raw Reaction, night after WrestleMania. I am your producer and host, Angry Hentai, and with me is junior producer, Big Dick. How you doing tonight, Big Dick?
Brother. I'm in pain right now, man. I am in pain. I know we talk a little bit about basketball and other sports, but I'm a North Carolina Tar Heel basketball fan, and usually it's good to be the bad guy. However, tonight, a ragtag bunch of upstart punks from Villanova scammed a win over the UNC Tar Heels. So tonight, the Heels lost, and it was painful to watch.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy, but you know what? You know, like with big collegiate sports, it's nice to see the little guy win for once. And you know what? WrestleMania wasn't necessarily all about the little guy. It was a little bit about the old guard holding their thrones. Guys like Chris Jericho and The Undertaker walking out with wins. Unfortunately, it wasn't the same for Triple H. But I think contrary to popular belief, I thought WrestleMania was a real solid outing outside of the last match. And I have to tell you, you know what? Raw tonight was very great. I was talking to Killer Kev before we came on the air. He said, I'll tell you one thing. This week's Raw was a lot better than last week's Raw coming in. And, you know what? The energy's back in Raw. The energy's back in the WWE. And that's what's great about WrestleMania weekend is you have super strong WrestleManias. You have NXT show, which a lot of people are heralding is better than WrestleMania. And you had a big Raw tonight. So how'd you feel about the weekend as a whole?
You know what? I didn't watch the NXT show. However, I did watch all of WrestleMania, and I think WrestleMania unfairly slammed. I watched it, and one of my favorite things to do, I've realized with pay-per-views, it's totally unintentional, but I watch pay-per-view, but I want to start it right on time. So at the end of it, I don't have a sense of, okay, it's almost 11 o'clock, this match is about to end. I have no sense of time. So I'm watching for the match. I'm not watching like, okay, is this over yet? 5 of 11, it should be over. And it makes it a lot more enjoyable, to be honest with you.
I would agree
it's
with
weird. That. It's a lot more enjoyable where I'm not looking at like my watch and saying, okay, well, the match should be over before 11. Like last night, I think I watched it. I ended up falling behind a little bit on it, and I think it was match over around 12. But I had no sense of if it was in 12 or 12:15 because I didn't have necessarily a starting time there. So that was really enjoyable. I think I did that a couple pay-per-views ago, and I think I actually said something about it on one of our shows. I'm not sure, but I like the pay-per-view. I thought it was good overall. I mean, you know what? It doesn't have every result that the fans want, and I'm okay with that because you know what? There's heels, there's faces, and then there's people that you just don't want to see because you don't like them, or you don't want to see win because you don't like them. And I think Roman Reigns is one of those people. How they turn Roman Reigns into a New Day where they can work with wins and losses into somebody that fans can get behind. That's up to WWE. They write this shit for a living. That's not up to me to figure out. I think if the internet wrestling community as a whole has taken upon themselves to try to figure out the best way to do it. But I think I think we're stuck with Roman Reigns, and it's not a terrible thing. I mean, there's definitely much worse wrestlers than him. I mean, shit, they've been shoving Braun Strowman down our throats for the last freaking 6 months, maybe. I think
I'm okay with Roman Reigns
putting 5-minute match on.
But you think right now during WrestleMania? I mean, I'm okay with Roman Reigns as a champion. I just think this time of year, I think it was a stretch. And honestly, the crowd was behind Triple H, obviously, when they normally wouldn't be. And I don't think that's a good thing. And you know what? Luckily for Roman Reigns, Triple H went in this thing wholeheartedly. He pulled off a great program with I thought the match itself was good. I just didn't like the outcome. But Triple H sold like a son of a bitch, man. He built this guy. I mean, he owes Triple H big time because Triple H had a really solid run here. Maybe not his best run ever, but he had a real solid run. And Stephanie McMahon and Triple H had their heel game on. They sold the shit last night out of themselves to build up Roman Reigns, but he just couldn't get over. And tonight was no exception. You could tell the crowd from the get-go, they could not stand him, and they booed him the minute he walked out the gate. Now, what I thought was interesting, Vic, is how the Raw announce crew tried to disarm tonight's crowd by saying before the show and during the show, you're going to see a lot of silly things tonight, and one of the gimmicks of the crowd on the Raw after the WrestleMania is they do the things that opposite of what they normally would do. Normally, they would cheer people who they're going to boo tonight. And they're gonna boo people.
I got a good chuckle. I got a good chuckle out of that. That was JBL definitely with Vince McMahon in his ear. That was that was quite amusing. You know what? I'll agree with you on Triple H and Stephanie McMahon selling Roman Reigns last night to try to put him over. But I'll tell you what I was waiting for, and I might have been the only person watching this pay-per-view either live or backstage or over the internet. I was waiting for Stephanie McMahon to turn on her husband.
No way.
I was thinking it could happen because she was so intense and so about it. I mean, what would make, I mean, obviously it's not going to be like the test thing where she leaves her husband for it, but in the storybook of this feud, hey, you know what? I need the next great thing. I had my dad, I had Triple H, and now Roman Reigns is the next generation. This is my ticket for the next 20 years. You couldn't see that happening?
No. I don't know. I don't see them turning. I'll tell you though, to your point though, Stephanie McMahon's promo, that thing she did for the entrance last night for Roman Reigns was really awesome and really intense. And for her to memorize all that was really cool. It was a cool skit. I like what they did. I thought it was good. But we're really here to talk about Raw tonight, not necessarily WrestleMania, but the two big developments were the last night where The Undertaker beat Shane McMahon and that Triple H lost the title. Now tonight, when Raw started out, Vince McMahon came out essentially to gloat about the big win for Undertaker, but essentially Shane McMahon actually came out and he hobbled out to the stage and he said, I got two things to do tonight. Number one, Vince, that's to shake your hand and say, you know what, I lost and I'm a man of my word and I'm going to ride off into the sunset. But I want to thank all these crowd, and the crowd was solidly behind him, thanking Shane. But Vince said, you know something, Shane, although it won't be permanent, you've piqued my curiosity. I want to see what you could do when you were saying you were going to be in charge of Raw. I want to watch this ship sink. I'm going to let you run Raw. Maybe not just tonight, maybe for a few weeks. Let's see how it goes. But I want to see what you're going to do. I'm curious. So after all that, Vince is going to let Shane run Raw anyway. What's that all about?
Yeah. I was a little confused about this. I mean, I think that WWE, they definitely booked themselves into a couple corners here with setting up this card, especially with the Undertaker Shane McMahon match. And I think that this was sort of their, I guess you can say, an out for it. I don't know what their logic was behind it, but that was their out for. Okay, we wanted it. I think they wanted Shane McMahon to win. I don't know who did the booking or who did the writing and said, okay, you know what, the Undertaker's going to win and he's going to wrestle again next 5 years at WrestleMania. But I feel like this was just a complete out and just made that match insignificant.
Well, I agree. I think it does make it insignificant. I think it kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, the only thing I could think, and I was trying to justify it in my own head, was that Vince's ego was stroked by the fact that Shane came out and admitted that he was the better man and he won. And I think Vince's character wants to be in control, wants to be in power. And, I think he does believe in Shane subconsciously. And, I think he just said, what the hell? You know what? Shane ate crap. So, I think in a way Vince actually respected him, So, he's letting Shane run Raw. And we saw the highlights from the previous night of, Shane's match with Undertaker. And I gotta tell you, I was saying to Kevin before we went on the air, one thing I was thinking about Shane last night is, he's so athletic, right? Like he's got incredible jumping skills and fighting and just the fighting techniques he learned. But, he's not very good as a wrestler just because he's limited because he's not a full-time wrestler. But it is amazing that somebody can be that athletic and be not necessarily great in the ring and put on a show like he did. It says something to the psychology of Shane. But, I don't know what you thought, but when he was at the top of that cage last night and they were showing replays all night about this, I was scared for him. I really didn't want him to leap off the top. I really thought he was going to kill himself, but hey, it worked.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, I must say I'm really impressed. What I didn't like was during that match last night, having him come out with his children who were probably all under the age of 6 years old. I mean, it's great for the children, but the fact of the matter is that he's wrestling, or his intentions for wrestling, and I think he said this on this, was so his kids could see him wrestle. Hey, you know what? I think that 90 or maybe 50% of the WWE locker room has kids, and they want to see him wrestle, but they don't necessarily get a main event match at WrestleMania to showcase their skills. And Shane McMahon, he would not be anybody in NXT if it wasn't for who his father was.
Sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong, he gets awesome spots, and he put on a hell of a show last night. I will give him credit for putting on a 25, 30-minute match with The Undertaker, but to do it once, I mean, this is Shane's first match in 5 years, and to walk into this, a co-main event at WrestleMania, it's because his father is Vincent Kennedy McMahon. It's not because he's a great wrestler. I mean, I think we can probably get Apollo Crews to put on a similar match to that, or many other NXT or WWE superstars. So I feel like it was definitely a bit of nepotism.
Well, you know what? He delivered enough, and we'll see how he does in this role as the Raw GM for how many weeks it might be. But Roman Reigns came out to a sea of boos. The crowd ate him up, man. And he opened it up for anyone tonight who wants a title shot to come at him. Chris Jericho immediately comes out and says, "You're holding that title for me. I'm a 6-time world champion, and I beat AJ Styles last night, and I'm the guy who's going to get the title shot, and I'm the best ever and the best at what I do." And then AJ Styles, of all people, came out, and I thought Roman Reigns really looked like an asshole in the segment because he kind of started laughing at AJ Styles and kind of like throwing his hands aside, like, "Are you serious?" Whereas he didn't really do that with Jericho. Then Kevin Owens comes down the aisle and he lays his claim, limping to the ring, selling his ladder match injuries. And Roman Reigns doesn't really disrespect Kevin Owens. He seems to feel he's a legitimate opponent. Then Sami Zayn comes out, and Sami Zayn gets the AJ Styles treatment. Roman Reigns is literally laughing at him and waving him away. I was really surprised by all this. Well, what happened was each man brawls. The two rivals go at each other. Jericho goes after Styles, and Zayn goes after Owens, and essentially everyone eliminates themselves, taking each other out, and Reigns finally spears Jericho. Reigns decides to walk out the door. Before we find out what happens there, how did you feel when you were watching all that?
You know what? I did not see the disrespect by Reigns towards AJ Styles. However, I did see it towards Sami Zayn, and I get that. I understand. Sami Zayn, has he actually won a match in WWE by pinfall?
I don't think he has. Who?
A WWE, not an NXT match, a WWE match by pinfall.
Zayn? No, he hasn't. You're right.
Therefore, he should. I agree with Roman Reigns completely on Sami Zayn.
That's true. That's a good point, man. It's a good point.
They'd be literally like Apollo Crews. He just won his first match tonight, coming out after that, and like, hey, you know what? I should be wrestling for the championship. I think he's a little out of his league. I think that Styles. I think it's too early for Styles to be fighting for a championship, considering he just lost at WrestleMania for the second or third time. I think that Zayn and Styles came out because of Jericho and Owens, and especially Zayn because of Owens. Owens, I could see competing for a championship, for the WWE Championship, based on his body of work so far in the year or so he's been here.
Yeah.
But Zayn, he has no business in that ring.
No, he didn't. We all know he's super talented, but you're right. You make a good point. Like we all know Zayn's awesome as a wrestler and he can deliver, but his character has to win matches to be in that air. You're right. And apparently it sounds like he might have gotten injured in that segment, and that's the real reason he got pulled out of the match, by the way.
I did not see an injury.
He was seen holding his shoulder, and that's why they had to potentially film the segment where Kevin Owens powerbombed him to knock him out of the number one contenders match later in the night. To that point, Shane McMahon, now trying to make a statement, decides he runs into Roman Reigns backstage. He said, I'm making a fatal four-way tonight. Winner's number one contender. Styles versus Zayn versus Owens versus Jericho. Well, Zayn never made it to the match. He was replaced by Cesaro, who delivered in a big way. The Fatal 4-Way was an awesome match. What'd you think of it?
To be honest with you, I didn't watch a second of this match. I was deeply enthralled with the national championship.
I did watch it, and I'll tell you, I was, and I noticed it too because there was a segment where there was a moment where all three guys were stacked up in a corner or in a different corner, and Cesaro went from corner to corner with his European uppercut. And this is like 20 minutes into the match, and Cesaro his cardio is there, man. I mean, he didn't look as ripped as he normally is, but you could just tell he was ready to go. I mean, he was just not in any way lack of stamina or lack of production. He did a great job. I thought Jericho was an incredible heel in this match. He was in control of most of the match. Styles had some real big spots. He hit the Pele kick on Owens, I believe, once, and he even hit the Styles Clash on Jericho to score the win. Styles wins this thing. That was a big surprise, I thought. So AJ Styles is going on, probably to the next pay-per-view. They didn't officially say that, but they did say the number one contender is AJ Styles, and he will face Roman Reigns. So in the essential world of 50-50, AJ Styles loses last night, but wins the big match today to be the number one contender. So big win for AJ Styles. I'm very excited about Styles versus Roman Reigns. Clearly the WWE is trying to ruin Roman Reigns from ever getting one person to cheer for him because the crowd is going to mark out big time for AJ Styles. What do you think?
You know what? I think the only way you could have the crowd war against Roman Reigns is having AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, and Cesaro all face Roman Reigns. And Chris Jericho all face him at the same time. Because he would be booed out of the building against each of those opponents. He would be the fifth favorite to win that based on crowd reaction.
You know what, though? I think myself right now, I'd rather see Triple H versus AJ Styles, man. Triple H was awesome last night. Let me just say that. Triple H delivered. He is the game. He is the cerebral assassin. This was a much better run than his Daniel Bryan run. Like his Daniel Bryan run, he was just there to put Daniel Bryan over. But there really was that doubt that Triple H was going to put himself over, especially after the Sting thing last year. And just watching Triple H and Stephanie, run it. And I thought to myself last night, I'm like, man, they are so at the top of their game right now. Triple H is such a legit champion. He is the cerebral assassin. And I thought to myself, man, if they don't win this match, this is the last time we're ever going to see these guys at their peak, at their height, if at all,
Yeah.
But,
I mean, I definitely think that I thought Triple H was going to win if there wasn't interference by Stephanie. I didn't think Roman Reigns was going to win clear. I almost felt that and again, this is probably spending too much time on the internet. I almost felt that WWE had to do something to turn Reigns in a big way, almost a double turn type of situation there. What I will tell you, I'm glad about
What?
is that Cesaro is back. I think
Yeah.
I would have loved it if he won this match tonight. But you know what? If he goes and feuds with if Sami Zayn's out for a period, if he goes and feuds with Owens, I think they had a couple matches possibly, but I'd love to see him pay per view. I think that they can steal the show match of the year candidate because Cesaro always puts on. He's a great worker. Owens is a great worker, and I think they can really tell a story and put on a hell of a match.
Well, you know what, man? Cesaro you can put him in there with a broom, and it's going to be a good match, buddy. You know,
we
need him.
He's a wrestler who I think he's grown on us. I mean, you know what? He wasn't great in the past, but he puts on solid matches. He's probably pound for pound one of the top 3 or 4 strongest wrestlers in WWE. And like you said, I mean, he has the cardio to go 20, 30 minute match.
And so does Triple H. They went like 40 minutes last night. Oh my goodness. Let me just throw this out there, man. So Shane McMahon brings back Cesaro tonight as a necessity. That's kind of one of his things, is booking tonight. But his big push was this NXT push, which is he brought up literally 6 guys tonight. So he brought up 4 guys on the show and then announced 2 guys will be coming up on SmackDown, that being the Vaudevillains, Simon Gotch and Aiden English, but we won't see them until Thursday. But tonight, first off, we see Apollo Crews. He debuts against a longtime NXT veteran, Tyler Breeze, and it was a very good match, I thought, given the short amount of time they have. But Apollo Crews, he's been really solid in NXT, but I'll tell you, he actually nailed all his shit tonight, and I've seen him at times struggle a little bit in NXT. He looked really ready tonight. And when he came out, I actually thought to myself, I'm not sure he's ready yet to be on Raw, but he delivered, man. He delivered when the lights went on. So, now you have your jacked up, athletic version of Bobby Lashley. So I think this guy could be great. I don't know, man. I don't know if the crowd is going to want this type of gimmick, but you could see why he's a Vince McMahon type of guy by the way he's built.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what? Worst comes to worst, you just do a New Day.
Oh, man. No, Vic, no. Well, I'll tell you, he won't be another Ezekiel Jackson. I'll tell you that.
There you go. No, I thought it was a good match. I was actually surprised at how Reese got any offense in. But
Breeze looked good. Given what his role was, he looked good.
Right there, which was I was sort of surprised. I thought that they were gonna make Apollo Crews more of a dominant heel. Well, no fun fact about Apollo Crews. You know where he's from?
No, but I know he went by the name of Uha Nation.
No, he is from Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Like Jake.
Yeah. Anyway, I can see Stone Mountain, Georgia. I can see the actual mountain, Stone Mountain, Georgia, from my living room.
Do you think do you think Stone Mountain, Georgia is a nice place?
I don't think he lives on the mountain.
Is it a nice place to live?
For Apollo Crews, yes.
Whoa. Okay.
No, I think it's definitely a nice place. There's some nice places, and I think that he probably lived in a really nice place. There's some nice places right by the mountain there, and I've hiked Stone Mountain before. It's a good hike. That's probably how he's gotten in shape, is climbing Stone Mountain. I've climbed it before. It's not really a mountain. It's more of like a steep incline. But there's some really nice places to live right around there, in the Stone Mountain vicinity. So I think it's a good place for Apollo Crews to live.
There you go. Well, also debuting tonight was the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, Baron Corbin. And I thought this was an odd match. He took on Dolph Ziggler. He pretty much kicked the shit out of Dolph, especially when they went into the audience. He just killed him. He hit all of his moves. At the end of the day, it's deep six. Everything we've seen accustomed to in NXT. What I think's odd is on Friday night, he lost to a roll-up to Austin Aries. Like we didn't see that. Then goes and dominates the Battle Royal and then kills Dolph Ziggler today, but doesn't have the presence of mind to get back in the ring before the 10 count. It was really odd. He looked
You
good.
know what? I think he's gonna be a hell of a wrestler in on a main roster. But like you said, with trading these wins and losses, I think that okay, you know what? This is Aries. Like Aries is gonna be in NXT for next year. He's gonna be like Finn Balor, like a year ago, and he's gonna sort of take over that role once Finn Balor gets called up. But I feel like, again, it's trading wins and losses. Okay, you know what? You lose tonight. You're not like in the title contention, and you can go win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and go toe to toe with a former champion, Dolph Ziggler.
Right.
I mean, I feel like that's the problem with these trading wins and losses. I mean, I almost feel like NXT needs to put stipulations on their matches where the winner of this match will get promoted to Monday Night Raw. Maybe not say that much, but say, I mean, have a carrot out there. Say the winner of the Aries Corbin match on Friday wrestles in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
They should just have an option. Like, if you win a match, you have the option to go up, to go join the WWE roster. Like, because I know NXT is trying to play that alternative card, and I like that. I think that's what makes it great. Because there are a lot of guys in NXT now that are much better than guys on the main roster, so I get that whole deal. So I mean, I think winning a match and getting an option would be good, because instead you have a night like tonight where they bring up 4 guys at one time. So to your point about trading wins, they have a table match between the Usos and the Dudleys, in which the Dudleys win the table match because the Usos missed the move they won with last night, the double splashes, and went through the table. So what happens? They basically just dismantle the Usos, and then they hang around and they don't want to leave. And Enzo Amore and Big Cass come down to the ring, who are one of the most popular teams in NXT. They've been down there for quite some time. And they do their whole shtick that we're accustomed to on NXT. And they tell the Dudleys how soft they are, and the Dudleys decide to hightail it out of there after getting a verbal beating. But now here's another tag team coming up, and then on Thursday the Vaudevillains are coming up. And then we saw a promo for Primo and Epico are back from Puerto Rico as if they never left, and the Matadors go away. So essentially, regardless of when the Matadors are gone or not, they were on the roster, and now they're gone, and now Primo and Epico are here. So you are bringing up 3 tag teams the same week, essentially. I don't know if that's a good idea.
I don't know. I mean, Primo and Epico, they were nobody really gave a shit about. But then again, the Dudleys and the Usos, I really didn't give a shit about either in the last month or 2. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Dudleys for they've done body work, but I hate the Usos. So I don't mind the Dudleys coming up and facing, Amore and Big Cass. I don't mind that happening, but I don't know about anybody replacing the Usos, which I think Africa were going to be sort of slotted in there.
Regardless, I mean, the wins were traded, so there was no point in having the match last night, because the Usos won last night, Dudleys won tonight. Period.
Yeah, when you have 3 or 4 pre-show matches, or I think they had 4, did they have 4 scheduled? And
they had 3. The Andre the Giant Battle Royal at one time was supposed to be on the pre-show, but it made it to the main show, so they only had 3.
But that would have been the 4th.
Would have been. Yes.
Okay. But I mean, the fact that you're booking 4 matches and calling them all pre-show matches, I mean, that should make you aim a little bit higher. As far as, I mean, if you're really, I get having a women's match and like a decent men's match on the pre-show, but shit, a women's match and 3 other men's matches, I don't know. It just doesn't.
WWE might as well release Ryback. He went from the main event undefeated to losing to Kalisto clean on the pre-show.
Yeah. Well, it's almost as bad as, what was it, Big Show a couple, maybe 2-3 years ago. He was in the main event on a pay-per-view, lost. He was on the next pay-per-view. I mean,
doing what?
That was before the pre-show days, but still, it was, I don't know. I didn't mind the Battle Royal. I felt like they were really time constrained with it. Again, I was sort of biased because I didn't have the actual time and when I thought the other match was going to be over. But I felt like it was definitely rushed, which it's not necessarily a bad thing that they all come out at the same time. but there was no like breaking news ahead of time that Baron Corbin. It wasn't a big deal. Baron Corbin just sort of came out there, and I think Michael Hall talked him off while he was in the match. But it wasn't even like before the match started. Ooh, hey, here's this new superstar.
Right.
It was literally, okay, the match is like 5 minutes, 10 minutes old, and Baron Corbin's a monster, and he just threw out,
And Baron Corbin and friends are beating up DDP and Tonka.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love to see DDP and Tatanka, but I think that
It was a joke.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It was a gimmick. It was a gimmick battle royal, pretty much. It was a gimmick. It was half gimmick, half everybody needs a WWE WrestleMania paycheck.
Right. Get everybody paid, right? That's what they're trying to do. Well, you know what, man? It is what it is. We have the trading wins, and same thing with the New Day versus the League of Nations. League of Nations won last night. New Day wins their tag team match where they put the titles on the line against Barrett and Sheamus, and then the segment really confused me from here. The New Day wins, and then after the match, Sheamus grabs the mic and says, we need to get rid of the weak link if we're going to be successful. And they hold Wade Barrett. He gets bro kicked, and essentially he's now out of the League of Nations, which is now Rusev, Sheamus, and
Del Rio.
Del Rio. And then, you think, oh wow, that's a pretty big development. I guess Barrett really is gone. And then, if you didn't have enough action right there, the Wyatts then take over the stage because they got humiliated by The Rock last night, and they destroy the League of Nations. So where is that? What is that all about?
Yeah, I really, and that's the thing. I just hate. I feel like a lot of this stuff was booked like, oh hey, The Rock's making the show. Let's feed him somebody. I hated this segment with The Rock last night.
I loved it.
It has nothing to do with The Rock. I love The Rock. Well, every second he was out there. But I hate the fact that you have 3 wrestlers. Whatever happened to Luke Harper anyway? Is he like
He's injured?
He's what?
He's injured.
Okay. I didn't mean like there's nothing behind that. Like, okay, he's injured or whatever. It's just now essentially the Wyatts are down to 2 members. Or down to 2 members aside from Brett. But he comes out and is balls to the wall versus The Rock, Bray Wyatt. And sure enough, he isn't stepping around with Bray Wyatt. Or he doesn't come in with The Rock. He sends the weakest link in with him and loses in 5 seconds.
But at least Rock had a match.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I could have wrestled the same 5-second match.
It was cool nonetheless.
I don't like it because Bray Wyatt should be booked as maybe not a monster heel, but a good heel. And so many people are actually like afraid of and fear. Not somebody who wins a gimmick match or loses a gimmick match or isn't even booked for WrestleMania to actually have a match.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you.
Like, I feel like he should have been wrestling at Dalton or at least in like the main event, or not the main event, the ladder match, something like that. He should have been in a match like that.
Well, Shane kept it exciting tonight no matter what. I mean, no, although it's not really Shane, but they tried to book erratically, and it did make Raw very interesting. Even the Intercontinental title match was interesting. Zack Ryder shocked the world to win the ladder match last night. Miz ropes him into a match tonight for the Intercontinental title, and Miz notices Zack Ryder's father at ringside, starts a fight with him. He gets pushed down by Zack Ryder's father, and that leads to Maurice, Miz's wife and former Divas champion, coming out and attacking Miz's father, Ryder's father, and then Miz caught him from behind, stone crushing finale, new IC champ. Wow, that's a lot in 24 hours.
You know what? I like this win. I felt like watching the pay-per-view last night. I felt like Ryder was going to get the Fandango first, and then to have him lose it less than 24 hours later. That was sort of painful. I'm like, you know what? He's going to be like so over with the crowd, like love him. He does a silly little woo woo, and I mean, he's like the ultimate underdog. But if you look at where he came from, like a year or two ago, to where he is now, he's fucking jacked out of his mind.
Oh yeah, he looks good. His wrestling seems to have improved. He's got a good attitude. He's not complaining all the time like Ziggler. And the crowd's chant set it up best when he was talking about taking a picture of Razor Ramon. They were chanting, "You deserve it." I thought that was a nice chant.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I hate it when people are like, oh, you know what? The crowd shouldn't have chanted, "You still got it." For like Undertaker chanting. You know what? Like, if you're getting the crowd to chant for you in coherent sentences, you're doing okay. It's not because it's not a sign of disrespect or a sign of leave somebody out of the building. It's literally like, hey, you know what? You're actually a really good wrestler and you respect that. You feel like having masturbating fevers, actually?
I think he is. Well, I was gonna say Charlotte gets presented with the women's title tonight. That was a big angle. And Charlotte originally was being very humble, but then goes off on how it made sense for her to be the champion because her and Ric Flair are better than everyone. Well,
you know what? I like leading into the pay-per-view. I think that they were talking about putting the strap on Sasha. However, I think that it's a better call, especially naming the title and whatever, to start it off on Charlotte and then let Sasha face it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they basically changed it from the Divas Championship to the Women's Championship, which I don't know if that's progress for women or step back for women or not really sure, but I think it's sort of an upgrade in the belt, and I think that Charlotte should be the one who retains it. And at WrestleMania, you can't have all the faces win.
No, you can't. But, you know, there's certain heels like Chris Jericho that they'd accept the winning. You know, listen, AJ Styles, you know, the internet loves him. Everybody loves him. But, you know, Jericho's one of those guys that transcends it. So, as a heel, he was a good one to choose. I think Triple H would have been a good one to choose. But, hey, man, one thing about AJ Styles, I got to throw this out there. I was thinking about it today when his hand was raised in the main event. You know, 6 months ago, he was meandering at TNA. How stupid does TNA feel? Like we could utilize.
I don't think they're just gonna pay him. I don't think it was like, hey,
They just don't know how to get draws out of people though. Even Kurt Angle, right? Like, yeah, he's there, and they put him in big feuds over time, but he's always like coming in and coming out, and a lot of that's due to his neck. But if WWE had Kurt Angle in the fold, he would be huge. I mean, like he was one of WWE's top guys, you know. But TNA just doesn't know how to book. But anyway. That was really the show in a whole. I mean, that really was pretty much everything we saw. I mean, what do you think coming out of this weekend? I mean, where do you think WWE's going? I mean, there's so much happened, you know, and that Raw side. I mean, what do you think? Where do we go from here? What about NXT? What about WWE? I mean, really, what are you thinking, Nick?
You know what I came away with? I think probably my favorite match of the night, last night, was the women's match.
It was great.
It was phenomenal. And not only that, but maybe I'm the only one who just noticed it, but Charlotte had freaking massive tits.
Massive what?
Massive tits.
Yes. You know what?
I thought they were big before, but during this match, I'm like, holy shit, this is freaking big.
She was good in NXT, and she's a 4 horsewoman, but she's getting a lot better. And the fact that WWE has invested so much time in her, she's really getting better every day.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where she could be coasting by. She could be like freaking, what's his name, Curtis Axel, or I don't know, Bo Dallas, where they think, oh, hey, you know what, my father was in WWE and I can skate based on his name. Charlotte is a child of one of the greatest wrestlers ever, and she's earned her keep. I think that there's a lot more people, especially since WWE. And this is one of my pet peeves from last night. WWE, they play up the relationship and like Rock being cousins with the Usos and Rikishi and and Roman Reigns, whatever, because they're all Samoan. But last night, when Sasha was coming to the ring, she got let out by Snoop Doggy Dogg, who was apparently her cousin.
Yes.
I did not like, and there's another relationship too. And I just didn't like it. It was like, you know what? It's like, just making this stuff up. I mean, you know what? Maybe they're like 8 cousins down the road, but I mean, I'm sure me, Killer Kev, or me and you are like 8 cousins down the road too. I feel like you don't need to, I mean, have Snoop bring her out because he likes her and thinks she's cool and maybe he's going to enjoy it with her or something. Don't have him leave her out because they're quote unquote cousins who you'll never see within 50 feet of each other ever again on WWE broken. So I did not like that.
Well, I don't know, man. I have no problem with it. I think they're trying to just get her over with Snoop, and I had no problem with it all around. I don't know. I'm very.
Does she need Snoop to get her over? That's my question.
How? Because mainstream.
Like she would be over herself leading up to this match.
I don't know. I think Sasha's over. Are you kidding me? I mean, it just brings her to another level. People love her.
Yeah, but I get that. But I'm saying, do you think that Snoop, the fact that Snoop let her out during her WrestleMania entrance, and they referred to Snoop as her, I think it was her cousin or something. Do you think that got her any more over than she already was? I think that she's probably the most over.
She's the boss, man. That's like her gimmick. She does cool shit like that.
No, but Snoop being her cousin or not being her cousin?
He really is her cousin.
They really are?
That's commonly known.
I had no idea before.
I've known that for a couple years now.
Okay, well, you know what? Then I missed the boat on that. And I mean that's cool that she came out with him and stuff, but I had no idea until last night. And I'm thinking, okay, they're like Rikishi and the Usos and The Rock, where they're like fourth cousins or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I think she. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably the most excited. That was probably the best match, or at least it beat the expectations I had for the women's match. And I thought it was gonna be awesome, and it really was. I mean, Charlotte did some freaking pretty cool moves.
Well, I don't know. Charlotte had great moves. All the girls had great moves. They were all great. I don't know. I thought Raw was good tonight. I thought WrestleMania was great. I thought NXT was. I hate to say this because I know all the marks love this shit, but the action was better on NXT. I mean, you should have seen the tag team match to open the show. American Alpha versus the Revival. These guys, Gable and Jordan, they are unbelievable, man. They're the best tag team in the world right now, by far.
Wow.
Like no one's even close. They should not. They should be the tag team champions.
Wow.
For real. Kev, are you on the line?
I missed out by not seeing the NXT takeover show.
You would have enjoyed it.
I definitely need to watch it.
Line.
What's up?
Kill Kev, do you agree with me that Jason Jordan and Chad Gable are the best tag team in the world right now?
Yeah, I'd say they are one of the best, especially among the NXT, and I'd say they're only second to the New Day in WWE right now.
I didn't ask you that. I said in the world. I'm saying, do you feel there are better tag teams? And don't give me the Young Bucks, bro. Don't even go there because they're both 120 pounds.
I would never give you the Young Bucks. I would never suggest that the Young Bucks was the best team at Burger King.
Thank you.
Let alone anywhere else.
They're a gimmick,
bro.
That's
kind of tough. I think you really need to look at New Japan and compare what's going on over in their tag team division. But I think they could definitely fit in right in with like New Japan's tag division and be right up there, no problem.
You're telling me New Japan has multiple teams that are similar to Jordan and Gable?
If not slightly better.
Wow.
How's that possible?
I don't know. Maybe I don't watch enough New Japan.
I don't watch any New Japan. I mean that. Honestly, man. Okay, I'm gonna go out. I want to be careful here because I don't want people to think I didn't like it. So I saw the Friday night, Kev. I saw the Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn match. It's a fantastic match. Probably one of the best matches I've seen on WWE TV in the last 12 months. But let's not get crazy. I've been reading people inform. This is the best match I've ever seen in my life. I was so lucky to see it. Dude, come on.
You know, for some people, it may have been the best match that they've ever seen in their life. But that's only because they've not been watching a whole heck of a lot of stuff.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now. I can tell you some of the Undertaker HBK matches were... Are you kidding me? You're going to tell me that how could anyone say that match is on par with the two Undertaker HBK matches? Those are two of the best storytelling events and matches of all time.
Yeah, and I won't disagree with that, but not everybody's seen that stuff.
Yeah, but I just don't like how the marks try and pretend that anything not mainstream can't be good. Like, it's very annoying. And it hurts me to actually say that the Friday night show was actually better than WrestleMania because it only empowers that thought. You know what I mean? The problem is WWE needs to move to more contracts where they can actually get rid of guys when they want to, and they don't have to be callous about it. They need to hire more people at will, because what happens is, I'm just watching Raw and I'm like Usos should be off TV. Ryback should be off TV. Like, they're done with those guys. Like, there's no need for them. I mean, if you're not going to use them, or you have Dolph Ziggler walking down the aisle at Raw tonight, audibly saying, "I got my smile on." Like, dude, fucking, like, it's so lowbrow, like, that you're disgruntled on the air. Like, I can't believe he doesn't get fired. Like, he shouldn't be. Ziggler's awesome. He should be on TV. But I'm saying the other guys, obviously they shouldn't be. But that's the problem with WWE. It's easy for NXT to be good because you know what? NXT has a roster of like 60 guys in training. And the only thing that we see on TV are the things that they put out there, right? And most of it's taped and edited. Whereas WWE is carrying half a roster of guys that suck, and that's part of the problem. Not everybody's going to be a main eventer, That's just my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. I agree with you completely on that. One thing I also didn't like tonight was, and again, I didn't watch the entire show, but I saw a good enough part of it where they replaced, they replaced the Authority with Shane McMahon, and basically said, "Hey, let's see how you do." You know what? I could have walked out there tonight and replaced Shane McMahon, and I would have had the crowd eating out of my hand too. It's not a matter of, "Oh wow, you had 2 good weeks of ratings. Okay, you gotta have Raw now." I feel like they need to build the story up a little bit before
this story could be good though, because there's a couple things about it, Becky. To your point, is that Shane did say Vince was the better man, so he played to Vince there. But Vince also hates Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns embarrassed him and destroyed him. So Triple H and Stephanie couldn't get the job done. So what Vince is thinking is, if I don't do anything about this guy basically is going to be the champion, and run this place. So let's see what Shane does. Maybe he'll bring in somebody new and different and get Roman out of there. Because I think that's really what Vince's number one thing right now is to get him the hell out of there. Roman, No,
I definitely hear what you're saying there.
That's what I was thinking. So I'm thinking Vince is a lot smarter than we're giving him credit for, and there's a master plan here. Because just like Undertaker, maybe Shane will also be his bitch. By the way, I am loving all the crying Michael Jordans on North Carolina heads all over the internet.
Did he actually cry after the game? That was a pretty impressive ending. Did you watch that? You saw the fireworks.
I think the fireworks. I think the fire. Honestly, if you took the last 5 seconds of that game, you would think it was staged. And I know it's not. But
I mean, it was. I literally saw that, and I knew when they got the shot up. That was a freaking awesome. Jay Wright from Nova. By the way, Villanova, in case you missed it, and I know you didn't, they lost to Seton Hall this year.
They did.
I do recall. I do recall that. You know who's a Seton Hall alumni? Charlie Haas is a Seton Hall alumni.
That's true. Let me tell you something, buddy. If they play 100 more years of NCAA tournaments, there will never be a better ending than tonight.
It was a freaking, I hate to say it because I am a Carolina Tar Heel fan, but yeah, oh my God, it was a great ending. It was really just, I saw it and I'm like, you know what? We lost to, they were a better team. They had a great play call.
I saw this with Butler though, man. I mean, I was just watching the 7-point lead dwindle away, and I'm just thinking these small schools can never win. They can never win national titles. I know Villanova won in '83 or wherever it was, but Villanova's now in the Big East, which is not what it used to be. They're not much. They're basketball only, they're not a big school. They have a name, but they're not a big school. So I was really, really amped to see a small school win.
Yeah, and you know what? I give credit where credit is due. It was a phenomenal ending. I mean, I literally threw my hands up. I'm like, you can't argue. I mean, they set up a play that won the national championship for them. Good for them.
You know what's great though? If Villanova didn't win the national championship on that shot, we probably wouldn't have got on this air till 12:30 tonight, and you would have fell asleep.
Yeah, I did sort of feel bad for you guys. So I'm like, yo, it's like I'll be on right after the game's over, and it's like 25 after. Kev's like, are you on the air yet? I'm like, not quite yet. And I don't want to say anything because it looked like it was going in overtime, and I didn't want to ruin Kev's evening tonight. But yeah, it was a fun game to watch. It was definitely more entertaining. I can't say this about many other alternatives WWE programming. It was definitely more entertaining than the second half of Raw.
I thought Raw was great tonight. I mean, I kept my attention the whole time.
No, I know that, but I'm saying from 9:30 to 11:30, this was a heavyweight title fight basketball game. I mean, don't get me wrong, Raw was awesome and probably one of the best this year outside of when Reigns won his second championship. That was probably another good Raw, or probably like the other good Raw I've seen in the last 3 to 6 months. So this is up there, but I mean, it's night after WrestleMania.
Welcome to my house.
What's that?
Welcome to my house. The WrestleMania song.
Dude, welcome to my
house. Anyway, that's it, man. So it should be interesting to see future weeks of Raw and WWE. So, that's all I got. I don't know if you got anything else yourself.
Kev, you're really quiet this evening. What are your thoughts?
Well, I said it to Tenzai earlier. I thought Raw coming out of WrestleMania was a lot better than Raw going into WrestleMania.
Okay, I agree with that, but then again, I agreed with that 3 weeks.
We should call Kev out on the air. Even though I did before the show, he really disrespected Shane McMahon and acted like he wasn't going to deliver.
Wow.
Not the case, Killer Kev.
Impressive match. I mean, I almost wish because 2 quick points on that match. Well, I still have somebody paying attention. Number one, do you see after the match, Undertaker took his like punching gloves or whatever the weighted gloves that he usually wrestles with off and basically threw them in the ring at Shane?
Yes. Why? Does that mean is this his last match?
I felt like it was a sign of respect more than a sign of disrespect. And I don't know if it was his last match, but I mean, it just seemed like just the way he did it, and they didn't really.
Shane carried Undertaker. Can you believe I'm saying that? Shane carried Undertaker.
He really did. He was in great shape.
Shane looked crazy jacked. But that's what I'm trying to understand though. Shane got this great opportunity during the Attitude Era, like 16 years ago, or more than that, 18 years ago, and he was 28 at the time. He had the ability and all the facilities and everything to be built the same way, to be in great shape. And it makes you wonder if he would have really took his training and his eating regimen right with the athletic ability and the God-given skill he has. Man, he could have been amazing. He really could have been.
Yeah, you know what? I think he could have been, but at the same time, I mean, I think he got over as the rich man's man.
Yeah. Well, I was very disappointed in no Mean Street Posse at WrestleMania.
Shit, I was hoping for that, but at the same time,
at least we got even.
I had to see Triple H. I had to see Tonka. I had to see DDT.
Can I just throw a comment out there though, Vic, before we get off the air? You know, I find it funny that between Jericho, Undertaker, Shane, and Triple H, yet again, and Brock Lesnar even, yet again, the Attitude Era carries the WWE at yet another WrestleMania.
You know what? It was. I definitely agree with you because, I mean, people are nostalgic there. I mean,
It's not nostalgic. It's just they're the best storytellers, bro. They're telling great stories.
I don't think, yeah, but at the same time, I don't think Stone Cold Steve Austin was telling too many stories other than.
Wait a second. I didn't bring them up.
What do you mean?
I didn't mention that trio that came out. I didn't even bring it up. That's not what.
So are you talking about are you talking about Triple H, Undertaker, or Dudley's?
No, I'm talking about Triple H, Jericho, Lesnar, and Shane and Undertaker. That was the guys who carried the show.
No, you're right. I definitely agree. I thought you were trying to lump everybody.
No, I'm saying it just seems like you have to. I mean, even the Rock spot was huge. I mean, that was intense. What was going to happen with the Wyatt family, and he totally. I mean, it just shows how he transcends. I don't know. It is what it is. But anyway, we really are coming up on time, so we should probably get out of here. But Kev, anything you want to throw out there for the network?
No, I don't have anything to add right now. Just keep watching AngryMarks.com for the latest in professional wrestling news and everything else.
Well, thank you.
And you know what? If you get tired of watching, come over to my place. We can watch together, and you can be the third man in the booth.
Welcome to my house. All right, man. Well, that's good. That's good, guys. Well, we appreciate it. We want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We hope you enjoyed this WrestleMania weekend. This is kind of the capper on it. So, more to come. And we'll see y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in. Kev, hit the music, bud.
What's up, boys?